Welcome to the inside of the 1993 Suzuki Carry DD51T. So what does that DD51T stand for? Well, it tells you it's a truck. It's the 51 series, or the 9th generation of these trucks. And it also tells you it's a 4-wheel drive version. What else do we need to know about it? Well, it's got a 4-speed, and it's the rare version with the locking differentials and axles. The Suzuki Carry competed in the K-Class MicroTruck segment. So that's trucks that are about 10-foot 8-inch long and powered by engines that are 3 cylinders at 660 cc's or less. I often get asked, which MicroTruck should I get? The Carry or the Mazda Scrum, which is actually just a Suzuki built Carry with the Mazda name on it, or a Daihatsu Hijet, or a Subaru Sambar, or a Honda Acti, or a Mitsubishi Minicab. Well, here's the thing, they're all pretty much the same. If you're a Subaru person, go for a Subaru. If you're a Suzuki person, go for a Suzuki. But more importantly, go for the one that's in the best condition, because condition is key. Let's talk about versatility and why these K trucks are so popular, not only in their home market, but here in America. It starts with this 6'7" bed. That's larger than most modern pickup trucks on the road right now. I mean, that's full-size pickup trucks as well. This vehicle in its entirety is only about 10'8", and the majority of it is in its bed. Now, the party trick doesn't just end with the size of the bed, it's about the configuration of it, in the sense that most vehicles only have an opening tailgate. But on this one, it's not just the tailgate, it's also that both sides can be lowered. So you can fit sheets of drywall or plywood in here. And if you really want to go all out, you take advantage of the 3-way option and you drop all the sides and you have a flatbed. Pickup trucks in Japan are not a lifestyle statement. It's very expensive to own vehicles there. So if you're buying a pickup truck, you're using it for commercial purposes. And that is exactly what this class of K MicroTruck was designed for. Consequently, when you find them coming to America, usually they look like they've been beaten like, well, commercial pickup trucks. So finding one that is in such beautiful condition like this 1993 Suzuki Carry, well, it makes it all the more awesome. When it comes to amenities, forget what you think you know about pickup trucks. I mean, this is more like pickup trucks from the 70s more than it is pickup trucks from modern day with heated and cooled seats and big computer screens. What do you get? You get a speedometer, a gas gauge, and a temperature gauge. You get indicators for oil pressure and an indicator to tell you you're in 4-wheel drive. You got heating and fresh air ventilation and an AM radio. Other than that, it's the truck, it's the utility. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when it's so pleasant to drive. One that when you can get out of, nobody's going to accuse you for compensating for a lack of something else. to fit within the classification of the K car, it has a 657cc, 12-valve, 3-cylinder engine producing a whopping 45 horsepower. Now that might not sound like a lot, but keep in mind, this truck only weighs 1,580 pounds. Well, maybe a little bit more with your driver in it, who happens to weigh, well, 235 pounds. Excuse me. But in terms of power to weight, this thing is actually not too far off the 1979 Chevrolet K10 V8 pickup truck I used to have. So torquey is this little engine that, well, we'll show you. Let's get into third gear. You can actually come from a full stop in third gear and get going. And on the topic of transmission, this is a 4-speed manual. Now the 4 speeds allowed you to get the differential and axle locks. 4 speeds and the 5 speeds were pretty similar. In fact, I think they only differed in their gearing in third gear. But that means that this engine can turn some seriously high RPMs. In fact, at 100 kilometers per hour, this vehicle has its engine turning about 6,750 RPMs. Top speed on paper is 73 miles an hour. So let's do a top speed. We're 80 kilometers. That's 60, and we are really pushing it, but it'll do it. It's fun. It's really better as a 40 to 45 mile an hour rig, I tell you. Even at speed, it's not terribly loud. I'll put the window up, and you can hear that the engine is straining a little bit at that high RPMs, but we're going about 52 miles an hour, and it's hanging in there. I'll slow down a little bit, and you'll see it just gets relaxed. It's not a bad drive, and you can see why, if you're going to be delivering things downtown, this is a great ride. So despite being 10'8" with a 6'7" bed, you're gonna ask yourself, well, how much can I put in there? I mean, you got 45 horsepower, so how much can you haul? These things are able to carry about 600 pounds. It makes it perfect for Home Depot and dump runs, but also it's just great as a run around town commuter. Gets 40 miles to the gallon. So what about putting it into 4-wheel drive? Is it hard? Well, no, not at all, actually. We're in 4-wheel drive. You want to go into 4-wheel drive low? We're in 4-wheel drive low. Axles are locked. Let's lock the diff. Diff's locked. And away we go. These things are so unstoppable. I love it. In 4-wheel drive, these things are totally unstoppable. This one has snow tires on it, and I'll tell you, go, stop, turn, it'll do anything. One thing I absolutely love about this vehicle is it's got one of the world's greatest turning radius. It just turns on a dime. Another thing it does well is shift. It's a relatively short shifter, and because the gearing is so low, you can basically start out in second gear. First is basically a granny low. Clutch pickup, it's pretty high on the pedal travel, but it's really easy to get used to. Now let's talk about handling. It's surprisingly nimble. In fact, on these tight bends and S-curves, it really doesn't wallow much. It's actually really fun. And if you look up on YouTube, there are great videos of guys driving these things and hanging the tail out and drifting them, because with the weight balance and in two-wheel drive mode, they're easy to get the tail out and just control. They're beautiful drivers.